All right, everybody. Thank you very much for coming today. This is so exciting. This is my first training that I've ever taught, so bear with me a little bit. I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Colin Humphreys. I am a intern with Swing Blue Alliance, and I'm also working on the News Magic project for the summer. I'm also a rising sophomore at UMass Amherst, political science major. I have former experience working for the Ed Markey campaign. I am elected to my local housing authority, among other things. So as you can tell, I got quite a bit going on. So yeah, today we are going to be talking about Facebook, a crash course for grassroots activists. This is hosted by the News Magic Community Calendar Organization and Swing Left and partnership. So let's go over what we are going to learn today. So you're going to learn how to post events in order to attract people to your organization's future events. How to create and manage an event invitation on Facebook. How to utilize and share your organization's events in Facebook groups. And Bria wanted me to be very sure that I had something in here that was, so the objective for the day. Some of you might already know how to do these things, and if you do, that's great. But we're also going to teach you how to effectively write posts that will clearly communicate the content, details, and goals of your event. We want to increase the quality of your posts so that you're doing it in a way that will attract people and that will have the most impact. Because just because you know how to publish a post does not necessarily mean that your posts are formatted in a way that will have an impact. So we're hoping to, if you take one thing out of this today, if it isn't learning the basics of it, we want you to learn how to write posts better. And basically, as you can see, I put in big bold letters down here. The goal is to learn how to attract larger audiences to your events using the power of Facebook. Something that can be very helpful, as you'll see on this next slide. Why do we use Facebook? It's a very popular social networking site. Many grassroots movements and prospective volunteers use it. I know you're probably surprised to see a 19-year-old giving you this presentation, because my generation is not as Facebook heavy as but a lot of the middle-aged and older generations are very active on Facebook, which is currently a majority of our activist alliance here at News Magic. So it's very useful. Facebook provides different methods to share your organization and events to reach larger audiences. It allows you to post invites to events, which you'll see in a little bit. Which is nice that no other social media site, I believe, has the ability for you to physically create an event on, like obviously you could post about an event, but you can't make an event like with all the details and stuff like Facebook allows you to. Facebook allows for creation of groups in which like-minded activists can come together, share their events, and have discussions. There's definitely a possibility that you found yourself here tonight because you saw I or somebody else posted this in the group. There are tons of them. You're probably part of one. They just, some of these groups have hundreds of people in them that will see all working towards the same cause, that will see the different events, and they're just so useful, and that's why I'm glad we can go over them tonight. So first, I wanted to show you a group that has effectively used Facebook as a Western Mass or Central Mass person. I have a little bias towards one of our few activist groups out here, Brookfield's Fight Fear. They're just such an amazing group. So we're going to take a quick look at them very quickly before we get into the training part. Just kind of show you, how they use the group. You can see they have 622 members, which is fantastic. If you can see, it's a group of people who believe, in progressive values. And then, people just share their stuff in here. some people, there are some people who just share like, something that they saw on social media or leave their opinion on something, but you'll also see that they post about events. If you go look at here, there's a Indivisible notice. Oh, also, I forgot to mention this. I hear a little bit of feedback from somebody. If everybody could just make sure that you're on mute for the duration of this call, unless we will have a chance for questions and stuff later, but just because the feedback can be distracting to some people. But yeah, as you can see, they had Small Town Pride, another event they were organizing. They even a couple days ago, they posted some pictures from their event. They did a Pride Month craft fair, and you can see the different pictures of people. Really good group, really effective. They have a ton of members. I've worked with them. They even helped me with my campaign. They got a little army that kind of goes around to different events. And here in Central Mass, where things are a little bit more Republican, and they've really mobilized the community to just go to all sorts of different things. They did a stand out against gun violence a little while ago, and it's just very effective. So we're going to learn how to do a little bit of that today and be successful like groups like Brookfield's Fights Fear. So the first of my things is pretty basic. Basically, just going to show you quickly how to make a post, but not just how to post something, how to make an effective post. So you'll see I do have screenshots here but I am going to show you live kind of how to do this. But I do want to show you, as you can see, my example, I basically talked about the Democratic Convention and put some pictures. So let's go take a look at my Facebook, and I can show you how it's done. So hopefully most people know this, but you click what's on your mind, and then this will pop up. And all right, say I want to talk about an event that I went to. So like I could say, we had a great time phone banking with Swing Blue Alliance. To help turn out a vote in Pennsylvania for the midterms. So it's good to be brief, but talk a little bit about what what you did, what the motivation is. Then it's also good to lead out with come join like another event. So I could be like, come join us this Saturday at 12 p.m. in Concord, New Hampshire to canvass for Democrats in the state. It's very basic. It's very good to lead out with another event, and then you could post a link to sign up here. I don't have any pictures really on my computer that I could put to add to this, but as I'll show you in my example, which I did might be a little bit better. Basically, so you see what I did here is I was like, I had a great time at the Massachusetts Democratic State Convention today. Lots of enthusiastic delegates from across the state showed up to listen and vote on candidates for various statewide offices ahead of the primaries, blah, blah, blah. I talked about how I was impressed with Maura Healey. It's good to share a highlight of the event. And then as you can see at the bottom, I ended off with advertising this is a fake event for Maura Healey's campaign, phone banking. And I attached some pictures below from the event. I have like Maura Healey speaking. We got Elizabeth Warren. I got myself at the event, the big crowd to show people it was well attended. And as you can see, that's what I advise. Talk a bit about your experience, attach pictures. It's recommended that if you can advertise another event and put the link there to try to get people, because people might see your event and be like, I want to get involved with that. It's good to leave them sort of a transition into something that they can do. Link them up to a future event, because they might be jealous if they miss this event, or see the event and be like, oh, that looks like a lot of fun. How can I get involved? It's always good to have some sort of a way for them to sign up for something else, to promote something else. You can use past events to promote future events. Keep the post brief though. People don't like reading long posts, and make sure your sharing is public, which you can see I circled it right here. That's actually very important unless you don't want the post to be public. One of those kind of harder to notice things, especially if you're trying to advertise something, it's helpful to make it public, because if it's a private setting, then not everybody might be able to see it, and only people you're friends with will see it, and that might be less effective. And then make sure you hit post. And here are some just examples I put. Massachusetts high school Democrats had Ed Markey on. You can see they talked about Ed Markey. They put a little joke in here, which I think is really cool to try to make it a little humorous, not just some boring thing. Then you got a picture, it was over Zoom, of they took a picture of the Zoom and the flyer, and then you got Ed here. Then over here, an in-person example from March for Our Lives. They talked about how they flooded the Capitol to meet with the different congressional offices, and then they said, tomorrow we're taking to the streets to show them that we are not accepting empty words, we're demanding action. When you see these pictures, you can see that it's conveying people to want to take action. People see these crowds getting work done and trying to make change, and they want to be a part of that crowd. So it's just so important to post your events after the fact and use it to advertise your future events. It's extremely helpful. It will draw people to your cause. It will get people excited, and it'll make people want to participate in the future. So,
hey, Colin.
Yeah.
While we're here on the events and posting page side, Constance in the chat had asked about tagging or mentioning the group that you're participating with. So for an example, if Swing Blue Alliance decides to host a phone baking event, can your posts talking about how awesome phone baking is with Swing Blue Alliance also mention them?
Yeah, absolutely. There is a way to tag somebody. I totally forgot to do that, but I can show you right here. So if you do the @ symbol and then say Swing Blue Alliance, that's the private group. But if you do let's see, Swing Left, and then you get Swing Left, and right there, when you post it, people will be able to click on that and go to their group. They can also see it. Another way to tag somebody, that's a way to tag in post. You can also tag this way. This way you can only tag your friends. So you can only tag people you're friends with. I'll just take, I don't want to take somebody I personally know. For example, I'll just put my grandmother in here. Say I wanted to tag my grandmother, and it says that I'm with somebody. So you tag using the blue button down here. You select the person you want to tag, has to be a friend. However, if it's a more general page, not somebody you're personally friends with, like Swing Left, then you would do the @ symbol and Colin Humphreys for Dudley Housing Authority. Because you're unable to tag people that you aren't friends with, and if it's a public page that's not like, private or personal, which I'll show you in a bit, then you should tag him this way as opposed to tagging him here. Using the blue button is more to tag people you went with, and then using the @ and putting it in the text is a good way to tag an organization that you did it with. I hope that clears up kind of what your concern is.
Colin, that actually gave me a concern. Like, do you suppose that the private group came up, but the public page didn't come up when you were doing that? I mean, does one preempt the other, or why wouldn't you be able to get the public page?
I might just be typing it in wrong. If Swing Left showed up, which is a public page, oh, there it is. I just had the type longer. So it's just what the private group was popping up quicker for me because probably because I'm in the private group. But if I, as you can see here, you just have to sometimes type out the whole thing, be a little patient. Which apparently I didn't have any of that. But yeah, so.
Another thing to note is that sometimes if you are also private, so like I'm private on Facebook, and if I'm part of a group that is private on Facebook, we can't always like post things that will be reflected onto the rest of our Facebook page for others to see. So because Colin and I are not friends on Facebook, even though we might be friends in real life, he will not be able to see that I'm posting with this other private group on Facebook.
Yeah, it's a good thing to know. So yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell. As to why private groups show up before the public groups, I think that's just has to do with Facebook's mechanisms, honestly, just the way the way their inner system works. Not much you can do about that. Just make sure you check to make sure you're posting the public page, if that's what you intended to do. So transitioning back, we're going to do a really quick breakout activity before we move forward with this. So basically, I'm going to give, for about a few minutes, I'm going to give everybody the opportunity to create a draft post for an event that you attended using the techniques you just learned. So you're not posting it to your page, you're drafting it. It's important to note, to save a post as a draft, you're going to do this. You're going to hit the X in the corner there. In the top left corner, you're going to hit the X, and then you'll get a window like this down here, as you can see in the screenshot, and you want to hit Save Draft. And that's how you draft a post. And it will not be posted on your page. No one will be able to see it. So we'll give a few minutes for that. I don't want to take up too much time with it because we do have some more stuff to go over. But we can, maybe quickly discuss it after a few minutes. But we're not going to go into breakout rooms. We're going to stay here in the chat. In the general room. If you have any questions, please, at this point, you could just probably comment them in the chat so it doesn't get chaotic, and we'll try to tend to that. But let's say we'll give it about, I know it's a short amount of time, but let's do about 3 minutes for that, because we do have more stuff to do, and we're already 23 minutes in, and I don't want to hold you here past 6. So, all right, let's get started with that. Also, for those of you who can't do a draft post, I can I guess I kind of already did one, so you can just hang tight, but so yeah, let me know if you have any questions, so then we can round it back and talk a little bit about what our experiences was. I wish there was an easy way to show everybody's post on the screen, but I just don't know how we go about that. If anybody has a suggestion, let me know.
Maybe not so much a suggestion, but I don't mind sharing my screen to show people about how to do this post.
Okay.
No worries, Marilyn. If you were distracted, I do it all the time. And I'm gonna walk through the process of how to create a post on my screen, and hopefully you can all mirror the same thing as Colin was mentioning. And it should only take about a couple minutes. So just kidding, I'm not a host. Can Susan, Larry, Colin, one of you make me a host or a co-host?
Let's see.
Colin will have to do that because he's the host.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm trying, but I'm trying to figure out how to make you a co-host. It's telling me I can make you a host, but then it would change the host to you. How do I make you a co-host?
You could just make me a host and I'll give it right back. This is the fun part of the
Oh, okay.
recording when people are watching later and they're like, what are they talking about? Okay. Ooh, nope, wrong thing. And please ignore whatever else is going to be on my screen. Okay, so I had just clicked create a new post, and because I haven't been on Facebook in a while, it prompted this message, which is figure out where I want to post this to. So Facebook is very clear on letting you know your audience options. So there's a public option. So anyone on or off Facebook, there's a friends option. And then there's a friends accept, all of the fun things if you want to do that. And then there's specific friends that you only want to show to some friends. And then there's also a post to only me. I don't think that's very helpful, but if you have thoughts that you just want to keep to yourself, you can post it just to yourself. So for right now, I'll just post for just friends, and we'll say hanging out with at Swing Blue Alliance and at Swing Left. And if I wanted to post a link for people to join this call, if it was an ongoing webinar, we'd post it here. Of course, like Colin was mentioning, you can add other folks that you might be with. I don't know if I will be able to do that since I don't think I'm friends with anyone here, but let's try it anyway. We'll tag Colin. Yeah, no, Colin's not going to pop up. So because no one in this room and I are friends on Facebook, it will not pop up. But you can tag the people that you are sharing community with. So this is just a really easy, quick way to make that post. But I'm not going to make that post. Like Colin was mentioning, we're going to click this X button. So if you're following along or doing this on your own, once you've created your post, if you want to post it, feel free. We're happy to receive the tags and the be in community with you. But for right now, I'm going to hit this X. Oh, okay, didn't even give me an option to save it, but that's because I save all my things to draft. And it's just a really easy way to create a post and let people know where you are and what you're doing. I hope that was a helpful tidbit on how to navigate audiences. And I see
also, Heather, I see your question in the chat about blocking agitators from a group page. We're going to talk about groups in a little bit, so I can address that when we get there. It might be a little bit more relevant at that point. Also, Constance, great example. I love it. Thank you very much for sharing that. And Susan, what happens when you tag another organization? It basically allows people to go view the organization. So if you looking at it from the other end, it will come highlighted as blue and people can click on it as if it were a link, and it will automatically direct them over to that organization's Facebook page. So if you wanted somebody to check out the organization that you did the event with, that would be a good way of doing that. I don't believe that the organization will be notified about being tagged. Not 100% sure, but I don't think they do. Then can I just have hosting abilities?
well, making a page. Go ahead. Colin, I cut you off. Go ahead.
I just asked if I could have hosting abilities back.
Oh, yes, I did give those back to you. So Susan, to your point or to your question,
I think
if you're
Susan has them for some reason.
great. So if you're tagging an organization's Facebook group page, they will receive a notification, but just saying that they were tagged in something. It's not so much approve or disapprove the way that Instagram is, if that's helpful.
Oh.
There's no disapprove on Instagram either. I just kind of made that up.
Alrighty, so it's about 5:30. So we're going to move on to the next part of the training, which is a little bit, probably the shortest part of the training. Then we have, there's no breakout activity for this next part. And then we have one more thing at the end, but making good time. So we're going to talk about how to create an event on Facebook. This is something that I can definitely be better if I show you live. I do have pictures and instructions here. Might be helpful, but it'd probably be nice to show you live. So I'm going to show you how to make an event. So you go to events, to the events tab. Not sure what happened there. I'm going to go to the events tab. Oh, it's because I still have that post that I was writing for fakes. All right, so there we go. So basically you're going to go to the events tab and click create an event. And then you'll get this option if it's online or in person. Does not matter that much which one you click. I'm just going to pick the in-person option. I think it's just a matter if it's online, it will let you attach a link. I think you can do that under in person too. But so basically, you're going to pick an event name. We'll call it phone banking with Swing Blue Alliance. Phone banking, we'll say for New Hampshire. So you put in your name here of the event. Then you could gotta pick a start date. It will pop up as a calendar. We'll just say this is not a real event. We'll say it's Tuesday, July 5th, and the event starts at 4 in the afternoon. Also, if possible, it's helpful to include an end time. So we'll say it goes to 6. Gives guests a better understanding of when to expect to be done so that they can arrange it within their schedule. Then make sure it's a public event. If you're doing it, if you want people to show up, make it public. If you leave it as private, you might not do so well. Then even shows you who the host is. Hit next, you click a location. If you did the online option, I think the location would be you'd enter a Zoom link, but let's just say, I don't know, let's just say the location is the town of Dudley. Obviously, that'd be ridiculous, but if you wanted to search up a location, you can go, let's say it's at the DCU Center. Not like that would ever happen, but then you click the DCU Center. As you just got to type it in. You see, it'll give you a map. If it's a commonly known place, you can usually type it in, like say Boston Common, and it will show up. But if it's a specific address, then you might have to type in like 1700 Pennsylvania Avenue, obviously. And it'll usually pop up once you type in a certain amount of it. Make sure it's the correct place. There might be multiple in a certain area, so, or multiple of a certain name. So make sure you get the right place. For sake of it, we'll just say it's at my old high school. Then you put a description for the event. You can, I mean, really, it's good to be kind of brief. Rather than waste time typing up a description, I'll show you, so you can barely see that. I can zoom. This is what I had. Basically, I said News Magic and Swing Alliance are collaborating to host an online interactive Facebook training for grassroots advocacy groups on Thursday, 6/23 at 5 p.m. I think it got cut off, but it said, like, in this training, it told you what we were going to do at the training. And then it ended with click the link to sign up, and there was a mobilized link available. So, you know, I recommend that you insert a description, be sure to include what the events pertains to, give information about, it's good to reiterate the details about your event. It's good to repeat the date, repeat the time, and repeat the location in your description, because some people might not see that. But if they read the description and see it, it gives you a better chance that somebody will understand the date and time that your event is taking place. And then describe what your event is and what the goal is very quickly. Don't make it long. And then how to sign up. Sign up using the link below. And we'll show you how to do a link in a second. So, also helpful to put actually, I think if you don't do the online version, you have to put in a link. So I'll just link it to my presentation. And to add in a link, obviously that's ridiculous to expect a link to be that long. There is a way to shorten the link. You go to tinyurl.com, You can go, my computer will ever load. I guess my computer doesn't like me today. But basically, if you go to tinyurl.com, it'll allow you to make a link that is shorter and not horrible like the, there we go. So you paste in your link, you choose a name, SBA PD, so SBA Phone Bank. And you click on it, and it will give you a link. You copy it to clipboard, go back, paste it, and then next, it's good to upload a cover photo. I don't really have anything good, so, but we'll also take a quick look at it. If you click online, and you just say general, if you click the online version, you'll notice that you are allowed to put in a link if you do the online event. Why they don't allow that for the in-person, I don't know, but then you could just put the link here as an event link, and you don't even need this if you do that. And attendees will be able to see a link that they can use to sign up. They click join event, it'll take them right to a link. So that's kind of the basics of it. I know that's a lot of info to take in. We will open it up to the questions at the end, but because it's 5:37, we do have to keep moving. If you have, let me just see if there's any questions in the chat. Thank you for telling me. Okay, looks like.
So there's been one question in the chat that I did not answer, but that was just the how can you block an agitator from a group page? And I'm not sure if you already covered that, Colin.
Yes, I told the person that we would do it with when we talk about groups, which is right now.
Okay, great.
So, and I just put a few examples in on here. This is a March for Our Lives Indivisible Gather event. You can see it. You know, they put in a description down here of what to expect. You got a location, an address, 3 hours and 30 minutes. They put the time in. And you have a button you can click to go to the link to sign up. Pretty awesome. How to invite you can invite your friends, as you can see in the top post here. You just check mark who you want to invite. You'll get a pop-up. You don't even have to click anything. As soon as you create your event, this will automatically pop up, and you'll have the option to select your friends. You can search them. You can also see who's went, who's interested, and who's go, or usually before the event, it would say going. Afterwards, it says went. You can see who's going, who's interested. I wanted to note that it's helpful to reach out to the people to confirm on your list to ensure they will attend. I did that for all of you guys today based on you guys all got emails from me. So it's important to just try to reach out to people that are coming. You know, a lot of groups will use a mobilized link to collect people's info, but that's just another way to kind of get a preview, especially if it's a smaller event and you're not familiar with mobilize. I am getting some feedback from somebody once again, so just make sure everybody's on mute. I heard birds chirping, so it's probably Susan, but so then I just put some examples here. Groups, here we are. We're at groups. I didn't realize we got that far. Oh, why are invitees to friends limited to 500? That's a good Facebook question. It must just be a Facebook setting. You can only invite up to 500 friends. I don't know why that's the case. It's a Facebook programming. Do I post my event as a person or as a page? It depends on, I guess, if you have a page, I recommend posting it as a page. You can share the event as a person. See if I can find an example of how to share an event. Let me just find an event. So I'll just take this one and show you guys how to share it. So here's the event. It's from a different page. And maybe I can't share this one because it's from a private group. Let's see. So I'm gonna try to find one that I can share. I think that one's in a private group, so I can't. All right, so we'll just go with this one. And to share, you just hit this arrow button right here. And you click on in the right hand, you share the feed, and then you get the post thing there. You can type up do you want to go, and then you can share it. All right, I'll take just one more question, then we got to move on. Oh, there's two of them. If you want to invite your friends, you would have to post as a person. Although no, you can actually invite friends to events posted on other pages. As you can see, I've been invited to this event by a friend. So I think I'd have to click going and then click invite. And then I could say, type somebody in. I don't know.
So while you're doing that, Colin, when you post an event as a page admin on your Facebook group page, the page that is the post. There's no inviting people from that page. However, Susan or Bria as a person can go onto that Facebook page and invite up to 500 friends. So we can like mass send it out to friends. I will warn you that Facebook will likely flag you the first time you or second time you do that as like spam, but it's kind of like you got to build it over time. So maybe the first time around you invite 10 friends to that group page or that event. And then the second time you keep growing that. Another rule of thumb is if you are that admin group, if you are the group page admin, so let's say you run the Swing Blue Alliance group page or you run the Swing Left main group page, you can send it and tag all of your group members or page followers and hope that they share it out with their networks as well. So we're strongly encouraging you in this training to also really put in the work if you are the admin to message people who are following your group page and let them know, hey, just posted this new event, would love for you to share it, thanks so much. And just keep it really brief in a message or even just like a tag post with a couple of people. It's just a helpful way to share out what's happening.
Absolutely. So I do see a lot of great questions in the chat. However, it's already almost 5:45. I'm going to stick around a bit at the end past 6 o'clock to answer questions so I can stay on and answer as many questions as come. But I do want to get through Facebook groups before 6 because I know people probably have bigger and better places to be. So first of all, how to join a group, really easy. Just wanted to show people just in case. You type in the group you want to join, and then there's a button right, if you can see in the second picture, it's right next to the invite button. It says join because I already was in the group, but it would say join if you weren't. In some groups, just warning you, if it's a private group, you might have to wait for the admins to approve your invitation. Most of the time in these type of activist groups, they will. But just if you don't get in right away, don't freak out. It might just take a little bit for the admin to get on and approve you. So now we're going to go, I'm going to show you how to create and post in a group quickly. So first, you're going to go to your groups tab and you can click create new group. So I'm going to make something up. We'll say New Hampshire dogs. I don't want to make anything that sounds real. So, and say it's, a public post and then public group. Then you have the option to invite friends. To invite friends, you just click on people. That's my dad, for example. We're not going to invite anybody to this group because it's getting deleted as soon as this training's over, but click create. It's good to invite some friends to the group to get started if you know people who are interested in doing activist stuff. You do have the option, it gives you this generic photo. You do have the option to change it. You can choose a photo. I'll stick up, I don't know, I endorse, that looks horrible. Doesn't really matter that much what the photo is. I'll put up I'll put up a picture of me and Ed Markey because that's fun. Weirdest group ever already. So you can put a picture. It's helpful to do it. It'll help convey what your group is, what you're all about. If you have a group logo, highly recommend it. To invite members who aren't your friends, you click invite members. And the cool thing is you can invite friends by category. You can invite specifically people who are from your town. You can invite people from your school. You can invite people that went to your high school. Or if you have a job, I'm probably the only person that put that there, but if you have a job, you can invite people from your job. So there's some cool filters. However, another step is to add a description, talk about what your group are. I'm from New Hampshire. Somebody make sure you're muted. And I like dogs. I don't know. So you had a description, obviously better than that. You should talk a bit about what is your group? What are the goals of your group? What does your group do? What types of activities do you engage in? What types of causes do you support? Pretty straightforward. To create a post, you just, same way we created a post before. It's exactly the same, exactly how I showed you before. So I don't think we need to go over that again. I don't think it's really necessary. You could also decide if people need approval or not. As far as managing your members, I know we had a question about this before. You have your admin stuff over here. And I don't have anybody in my group, so I don't know how well I'm going to be able to show you. But you can look at your group settings and let's see. So I'm going to look for, I don't have any people on here, so I don't even know if it's going to let me show you. Community home. You can click on your, I would say click on your members. That's just me. So if you click on a member, you should be able to, I can't kick myself out of the group, but if you click on a member, you should be able to kick somebody out. Unfortunately, I'm not an admin for any groups right now, so I can't show you a better example. But if you click on these three dots to the right of them, usually it will show an option, remove from group. You can't remove it. Just, obviously I can't forcefully remove myself. I could just hit leave group. That's also how you leave groups if you ever want to leave a group that you're part of. Just a cool, so I hope that makes sense. Just basically click on, once again, click on your membership, and then you'll see the list of people here. And you just click on the person you want to remove, three dots to the right, and there should be an option for other people to remove that individual in the event that they're not being good. You can also do some stuff to grow your group by allowing Facebook to suggest this group. Highly recommended. Facebook will use its algorithms to show other people who have liked or joined similar groups this group, and you'll get more people joining. So make sure this is clicked on unless you want it to be super private. But if you want as many activists to join as possible, I recommend showing it. If this just shows you if there's any issues with the group. Members can report content. You could also set up group rules. So you could say, for example, you could type in a rule, or you could select one of these, no hate speech or bullying, and it gives you a description. You create, and people will be able to view these rules and expectations. So if you wanted to set community expectations for your groups, this is how you would do it. You could put multiple in there, no promotions or spams. You could also create your own. Cats are the enemies of dogs and shall not be posted here. Type in your rule title and your description, and you can see you can create sort of a rule book here. So it's in your admin settings on your left. You could also schedule posts ahead of time. I could post something and you can see here, I could schedule it ahead of time to post on June 28th at 1:10 p.m. So if you had something you wanted to share, but you don't want it to go out yet, but you don't want to forget about it, you could post it now, but schedule it to not show up in your group till later. You can also do a poll in your group. Type in, if you want to like say, do you prefer phone banking or let's say, are you comfortable doing in-person canvassing? And this is if you want to schedule a canvassing event, see if your members are comfortable with, I know COVID's winding down, but some people might not be comfortable still. You can post that and sort of you can gauge, people will see that and they'll be able to click one of these and say, all right, yeah, I'm comfortable or no. And then you can see the results, and it's a good way to sort of gauge how your group's feeling if you're need to get that type of information. Trying to think if there's any other things I can show you. You can actually, how about at this point, I'll check the chat and I can show you how to do each of these things that you act. How do you block somebody? You can't necessarily block someone from a group, you can kick them out, but if they're harassing you on their personal page, you just look something up. We'll put, I'll type in some random person's name. I don't know. You know who I'll block? I'll block Donald Trump. So say,
Wait, hold on one second, Colin. I actually think it would be really helpful if you did this on like an actual page for people to see a real person getting blocked
I'm on
for like hate speech.
Oh, from the page, you just remove them.
Yes, but if it's a public page, there's no removing people. Like you can block them.
You can block them from the group?
Yeah.
How do you do that? I don't have any members. So I don't have any members, so I don't think I can block anybody. Are you the admin of any groups?
I think so. Give me 1 second. I was just like. All right, y'all, don't judge me. This is a very old group. We were trying to get fit in high school. We were not fit. If anyone, can you make me the host again, Colin?
Yeah, of course.
Again, this is the moment when you're watching this recording and you're like, what is happening over there? Okay. Very old. Very, very old. Okay, sorry. So sorry. Okay, so this is a private only members, right? And so won't Facebook. What is Facebook doing? Okay, so it's private only. I think there's only like 3 members of this group. If I wanted to remove someone as an admin, let's say I want to, oh man, I can add a group expert. I can't just remove her. As an admin, you should be able to manage your group or your members. Let's see, member request. We shouldn't have any because again, very old.
I don't think.
Bria, try admin assistant because I'm seeing it under admin assistant.
Oh yeah. Okay, thank you. So manage people and decline members. So if someone is requested, again, this is a private group. If someone is requesting access into a private group, you can decline them, you can suspend them. Decline incoming posts. You can decline posts, you can remove posts, and you can also turn off commenting if it is a larger private group. But when it comes to a public group, you actually probably cannot remove anyone because it is public, and that is like probably the worst side of Facebook. And so that's when I was mentioning in the comment section earlier, in the chat section earlier, that if it is a public page, but it is a private event, be very mindful of that. So you're not sharing sensitive information on that page, whether it's an event that you're having in a private space or other things, just be really mindful of that because a lot of people in these, and a lot of our activist groups do have public pages, it will automatically default to a public event.
Bria, do you know if somebody in a public page setting, can the group block somebody from seeing the page, or is that not possible with the public?
That is a great question. We have our group rules here.
That's what that's just, I showed that.
Yeah,
Doing that,
you
yeah.
just did that too. Let me see if I have hold on one second. I think I might be an admin of another group. I actually know it. I just gotta find it. Let's see. Okay. So this is a local public group that I'm a part of. And, again, here are the rules being shown, like no hate speech, none of that. And again, it is public, so it is visible to anyone who is a part of this group. I'm going to randomly click someone and hopefully they don't hate me. I'm so sorry if you know this person. That was not supposed to happen. Sorry. Okay, so if we wanted to report a post or report a post to the group admins on a public page, and then the admins from there can determine whether to block that person for a day or not, and that goes back to those rules. So I'm not going to report this person because I don't want to be that person, but you can report a post or hide a post to see fewer posts like this on your side, but you can report a post to the group admin page, and then the group admins have access to report or block that post and or that person for a day.
All right.
It's just one day though, unfortunately.
Can you transition me back to a host?
Yes.
Those little sections are going to be like, everybody's like, what the heck is going on? All right, so very quickly, it is almost 6 o'clock, believe it or not. So what we are going to do at this point is I'll go back into the slideshow, and don't worry, I'm going to stick around to take questions after. I posted some pictures on how to post in Facebook groups. It's just like how you posted it before. One thing we wanted to show you though is if you type in a link to something, you'll see this little box. Let me do it for you. There's one more thing I want to do for you. So say I do, I'll just copy the link to this presentation. Copy. I'll go to create a post the link. Paste. So as you can see, we get it's not loading very well, but we get a box down here that shows the link. You can actually delete the written out link, and this won't disappear. As you can see here, this is from Susan Lavandabar. People can click on this to go to the link, but you don't see the link physically written out there. It's a kind of a cool feature, makes your post look nicer. And that box that people can click on won't disappear even if you delete the writing of the link. So a cool little trick. We're going to skip the breakout activity because we just don't have time. So at this point, it's 6 o'clock or 5:59. So I and the other Bria, Susan will stay on for a few minutes to take questions, assuming they can. And you can just, at this point, you can ask your questions in the chat. You can unmute yourself. But for those of you who have to hop off, thank you so much for coming today. This was my first presentation class ever. Probably, I'm sure it might not have been 100% fine-tuned. There might have been moments here and there where I got a little lost, but it was very fun to do. I hope you learned something good today, and just thank you so much for coming. It's been an honor. I hope you learned some good stuff and you can write better Facebook posts and get more people to your events. So thank you so much for coming. And once again, we can stay on for a few minutes to take some questions. I know there were a lot of them. So yeah, feel free to go ahead at this point. So
Thanks. Thanks, Colin. Maybe you can shut off the recording too.
yeah, let me do that.
Susan beat me
So-
to the punch.